Hi and welcome to this week's Something for the Weekend. I'm Tony, Sales Manager here at Martin Lynch & Sons, and this week we're going to be discussing which Icom should you buy. That's any one of these. Anyway, before we get into that, if you want to be in with a chance to win one of these lovely Icom caps, then you're going to need to keep watching because there will be a question later on for you to answer. Right, now let's get started, and let's get started with Icom's flagship, the IC-7610. Well, if you're looking for a high performance dual receiver HF 6 meter transceiver, then you can't go wrong with the 7610. Let's begin with the first part that you always ask whenever you call up: how much is it? So current pricing on the IC-7610, Icom's flagship at the moment, is £3,300 roughly, give or take a few pennies. Now, what am I going to get for my £3,000 or so? Well, you're going to get top of the range model to begin with, which is always great, which obviously means it's going to be great for DXers, for contesters, and obviously for your general rag true as well. So 100 watts output power. You will need a separate power supply obviously to operate the radio, or 12 volts connection, and dual receive as standard. Now people say, well, there's not two knobs for the dual receive, Tony. Well, no, there's not. However, as per usual, Icom's really easy user interface comes as standard. You've got your touch screen colour screen, and you literally select your A and your B receivers quite easily there, and whether you want a TX or receive on either one. So what else can I do with the 7610? Well, digital modes are an absolute breeze with the 7610. USB connectivity on the back, so if you're operating FT8 for example, you just plug in via that into your PC via your USB cable, and away you go, nice and easy. But I'm always in the shack, Tony. Is there any way I can operate this remotely? Yes, you can. So 7610 comes as standard with the server built in, so you can basically connect this to your local network and then operate with the Icom software, for example, the RSBA1 software, and maybe the control knob as well, which are obviously always available from ML&S. Again, with the remote function, there is, I think it's SDR control software, which you can use an iPad or an iPhone, and there's other options as well for Android if you want to log on and operate this radio remote, which is always a good thing, especially if you've got a quiet location, you can leave this in. Now, a main feature of this radio, as I always say, and especially with current radios, is the display out. So it's nice and simple. You can connect your monitor straight on, and it replicates what's on the front of the screen on the big screen. Again, added features for the 7610, multiple antenna sockets on the back, which makes life very easy if you're running separate antennas for receive and TX, especially on the lower bands. And additional accessories, SP41 for example, comes with additional filtering. Now the beauty of additional filtering is that you can change it between the A and the B receivers on here as well. So as a complete package, you've basically near enough got everything that you need, bar maybe a desk mic, so maybe something like an SM30 or an SM50 desk microphone to go with it to complete your whole setup. Now, how much is it going to cost me for that extra speaker, Tony? Well, currently, great deals here at ML&S. You can get the SP41 free of charge when you buy the 7610, and you also get the Prism IC-7610 cover, which as you can see covers both the radio and the speaker. Now, great range of product. These are Prism covers, by the way, available for the full Icom range, and if it's not, please just give us a call and we can get Tracy to make one up for you. But you know, you're buying a piece of quality equipment from Icom, why not protect it? Anyway, that's your brief overview of the 7610, and you know, maybe it could be for you, but let's take a look at the 7300 next. Okay, so now we've moved over to the other side of the stand and to Icom's IC-7300, which was an absolute game changer when it came onto the amateur radio scene. So what does the Icom 7300 offer, and is it the right choice for you when it comes to buying an Icom radio? Well, 7300 Has a lovely little extra feature to it, whereas it does cover HF 6 meters and 4 meters as standard, unlike the 7610, which does only cover HF and 6 meters. So you've got an additional band in there, the 4 meter band, which I've been told is an absolutely amazing band in the UK, and you can work a lot of DX on there. So, you know, that may be true. I can't comment on that because I've not operated too much on 4 meters, but you know, if you can leave it in the comments, that would be great. So 7300, as I said, HF 6 and 4 meters as standard. Again, beautiful color touchscreen display. It's got that very simple Icom UI user interface, which is just so easy to use. So who is this for? Well, let's take a look at beginners first. Is it going to be very confusing for you if you're a beginner to the hobby, or maybe upgrading from a radio from, say, the 80s or the 90s that didn't have a screen? Well, let's put it this way. You've got a VFO, you've got a multi-function button, AF controls, and your bandpass filters all straight to hand, so very easy to use. If we look at the menu functions on here as well, you'll see there's separate icons on those menu functions, so you literally, whatever you see, you press it. Kind of a bit like catchphrase, where it's whatever you see, you say it. This is whatever you see, you press it. And it makes it very easy to use. So we can go straight to the scope there. And as you can see, it's running beautifully with the waterfall. Power output on this is 100 watts maximum power. So you're going to be absolutely fine, especially with the new changes for intermediate licensees, etc. Is it adjustable for foundation license holders? Yes, it is. You can drop down to, I think it's a minimum of 5 watts on the 7300. Now, does it have the screen out of the 7610? Well, no, it doesn't, but there are ways around it. You can connect a PTRX board onto the back and basically run it through an SDR, something like an SDR play, and then get your waterfall out onto a larger screen. So, you know, there are workarounds, but is it simple? Maybe not that simple to do the screen out part, but not the end of the world, because the beauty of the 7300 is, do you want to keep it in the shack? No. Why should you? It's light enough and easy enough, being a true SDR, that you can take it out and about, go portable with the radio if need be. Again, you're going to need a 12 volt power supply for it, or a 12 volt power source. Again, connectivity, if you want to do your digital modes, etc., is USB connectivity. So what we're kind of noticing here with Icom's transceivers, especially their latest ones, is there's this collection of features which you're going to get on most of the radios. Now, remote access on this is a little bit more difficult. You will need a host PC, or I believe you can do it with a Mac as well, and have that running if you want to access it remotely. So it's not as easy as with the Icoms that have the inbuilt server, but it is possible, and I know a lot of amateurs that are doing it with the 7300. And budget-wise, you know, we're talking less than £1,200 for the latest IC-7300. There's always offers coming on with the 7300s as well, so it's always, you know, worth giving us a call, seeing if we can add any extras in there for you. Maybe do a nice discount on a microphone if you want a desk mic. Again, with the Icom range, same desk mic is used on most of the radios, so 7300, 7610, you can use the same SM50, SM30 microphone again. Speaker wise, SP38 speaker, which is this little speaker here. Now, it does set it up quite nicely. Obviously our demo version does have these side rail guards on here, and because the IC-7300 has been so popular, you'll find that there's a lot of additional accessories you can add to this unit. So you can keep building onto it. So if you're just starting the shack, just keep building on, and yeah, you're gonna have a great shack and a great station. You've been operating for a while. You think you've got everything that you need. Is the 7300 going to suit you? Yes. Maybe you want to downsize. Maybe you've had your shack, you've got the big radios, you've got your old IC-7800, for example, 7700, and this is what we're finding. So a lot of amateurs that are, moving on a bit in years, are downsizing the shacks, moving to smaller accommodation, and the 7300, fills that gap so they can still remain on air and operate very simply and in a small footprint. So that's your 7300. Is it going to be the right one for you? Well, that's a choice you're going to have to make, or have a chat with one of the guys here in sales. So moving across to one of my personal favourites, mainly because I've got one, and as you know, it's very hard for me to part with money and give it back to Martin. So the IC-705, what does it bring? Is it the right radio for you to choose from the Icom range? Well, if you're looking for a portable radio, this is ideal. In fact, it's absolutely perfect, really. So the 705 gives you HF, 6 meters, VHF and UHF operation, all built into this package. Multi-mode, of course, so AM, FM, SSB, and D-Star as well, as standard. So if you want to operate on a local D-Star repeater, it's very, very easy to do with this. And it comes with that lovely user interface that Icom provide. So with the colour screen, again, you press the menu and you can just press what you see and what you want. Now, additional features when it comes to connectivity, the IC-705 is absolutely perfect. And if you're au fait with IT, then this is probably the radio for you. It kind of fits in with a modern life really, really well. So built-in server, the same as you'll get on the 7610 as I described there. So you can connect it and operate remotely really, really easily. Bluetooth connectivity as well. So if you're an earbud wearer, you can do that. Operate maybe a Vox microphone as well through the Bluetooth. And you'll also find that you can do full wireless connection as well to any of your appliances. So for example, I use my laptop with it and I can just log straight in with my laptop, operate my FT8, no wires needed. So there's none of that USB connectivity. However, if you do want to do that, you can, because it's got you covered. It's not a problem at all. So price wise, around about £1,300 to £1,400, give or take. There's always a really good offer as well when it comes to 705s, because there's so many accessories available. It doesn't come with an ATU as standard, but you should be using resonance antennas anyway when it comes to QRP operation. What I will say is, if you are going to go for a remote tuner, take a good look at the AH705. It's absolutely superb, battery powered, and again, ideal for portable operation. So speaking of accessories, one of my favourite Icom's LC192, which is the rucksack from Icom. So let's just bring that down for you now. So as you can see, beautifully crafted, has a little board on the side here to mount your antenna on, and if you unzip the front, you can place the whole unit in here and it securely fixes as well. So if you do lean forward, it's not going to fall out and damage the radio. Okay, so that's just one of the accessories available for the 705. Now, there's a huge range of accessories available, aftermarket accessories, for example. And if you check out our earlier videos done by Jonathan, there's about 6 or 7 of those videos which will go through the whole range for you. And they're being added to all the time as well. So 705, is it right for you? Beginner, intermediate, or experienced amateur? Perfect. There's nowhere else that it places apart from everyone. So one to consider. Right, now that's the HF range of transceivers from Icom, current range. So let's take a look at the VHF, UHF and mobile range of radios which are available from Icom, and are they the right choice for you? Okay, so moving on to Icom's VHF, UHF range. Before we get started, as you can probably see, these are mobile transceivers, and there's a bit of a hidden gem when it comes to mobile transceivers from Icom, and it's the IC-7110. Now, why do I say that? Well, let's take a look. So Icom's IC-7110, as you can see here, is basically multi-mode and multi-band. So VHF, UHF, HF, 6 meters and 4 meters as standard, and also D-Star. And the beauty of it is there's nothing else on the market that kind of covers it, not from new anyway. So around about £1,200–1,300 gets you a fully functioning shack in a box which you can take mobile. Beauty of this as well is it's a standalone head unit, so you can, if you're in the shack, mount this down below the desk and literally just have this head unit on top of your desk, nice small footprint, and operate really, really easily. And another little feature, the speaker is built in to the head as well. Now, it's pretty strange actually because it faces to the rear, but the audio from it is superb. So whether it's bouncing off of the wall, etc., who knows, but it is absolutely beautiful. Again, nice touchscreen features on there, nice clear monochrome display. So if you do struggle a bit with the coloured displays, you'll find that this one's very, very easy to read. Again, SD card is standard. It does the standard beautiful Icom thing of listing out repeaters, etc. via their SD card and CSV files. 100 watts output, fully adjustable. Now, no built-in ATU with these. However, there are a great variety of ATUs which can be added onto this, so no issues there at all. And obviously, just check out the Icom range for those. So that's the 7100. Bit of a favourite, has been out for a long time, as I said, and they've never really replaced it with anything new, because why? Kind of does everything for you. So moving on from that, let's take a look at Icom's ID5100, which is a VHF UHF transceiver, offering 50 watts output on those bands. Nice clear full monochrome display, as you can see here, and dual receive as well with this. So you've got your A and your B bands, and you can have either VHF, UHF. If you want to switch it to VHF, VHF, you can, etc. Very easy to do, and comes with D-Star as standard. Added function to that, if you're running APRS, which you can do with the 5100, then obviously you've got your built-in GPS function. And again, as I mentioned on the 7100, it's nice and easy to use because it does list the repeaters. So if you are mobile, it's so easy. You just drive around. What's my local repeater? GPS logs on. Oh, it's this one. Press a button and away you go. So coverage when it comes to beginners, intermediate and experienced amateurs. 5100, great shout if you want a mobile unit. Right, onto the 2730. Got a smaller vehicle, maybe you don't want the big 5100 head on your dashboard, then the 2730 will cover that for you. Nice and simple, simultaneous receive as well on the 2730, and about 350 pounds or so for a bit of Icom quality. And again, it's got that separate head, so you can mount the unit below the dash, under the seat, etc., and just have the small head unit there. So now let's take a little look at Icom's handheld range, which covers VHF and UHF. Okay, so let's move on to Icom's handheld range of VHF and UHF handhelds. And let's start off with the big one, ID52. So this is Icom's ID52. And as you can see, beautiful coloured screen on the ID52, which is a lovely upgrade from the original ID51. Covers D-Star as standard, built-in GPS as well. APRS is very easy to do with the 52. And again, it's that nice wheel navigation system in the middle. And again, you're going to get your list of repeaters as with the mobile transceivers. So if you're out and about, where am I? Which one do I log into? Oh, look, lovely. Got the Staines repeater on there, GB3ML. And I can start operating D-Star straight with the ID52. So around about just over £500 for one of these currently, and it's a great, great radio if you want full coverage, and obviously it does airband receive and stuff like that as well. So let's go from the 52 down to the latest release, which is Icom's ID50. So monochrome screen on this one, and it's kind of a stripped down version of the 52. Again, it gives you access to D-Star. It does the standard GPS functions as well. Now, when I say it's kind of stripped down, are you losing a lot? Not a huge amount really, if you're just going to be using it as a standard handheld. And it's worth considering, you know, because it's a very reasonable price, and it is going to get you access to that magical D-Star network. So, not into D-Star, don't want to do any digital, etc. Just want a nice, pure, simple handheld to take out and about. Maybe you're doing a bit of hill walking, etc. Then this is the one for you. It's Icom's ICT10, very, very simple. So, very simple frequency display here, which comes up. And basically you've got your keypad for direct entry onto the frequency that you want to use. You've got your selection here for channel selection, and also for your AF and audio. Now, good thing about this radio is it's very, very robust. And also it is IP rated as well, so it is very, very waterproof. Now, I'm not going to test that right now for you. I'm going to leave that up to you when you buy one. So that's your current Icom handheld range, which is available for amateur radio. And moving on from those transceivers onto something a little bit different. How about a VHF UHF transceiver for the home? Okay, so what is this magical VHF UHF transceiver for the home, Tony, that you're talking about? No one makes one anymore. What do they do? Icom does. And it's the IC-7710, which perfectly fits next to an IC-7300 because it's basically the same chassis and the same outer. So what does a 9700 give you? Is it the right choice for you when it comes to choosing an Icom radio, if you're a beginner, intermediate, or an experienced amateur? Well, it's going to give you VHF, UHF, so 2 meters 70 sems and 23 sems as well as standard in one package. Multi-mode, of course. So if you're operating satellites, it's going to be a breeze. Again, you've got that simple user interface on here, touchscreen, color display, and multifunction button. This makes operation really, really easy. And again, USB connectivity if you want to link it to your PC, etc. So as I said, if you're running satellites, it's going to be an easy integration to use the 9700. Now, what's it going to set me back? Around about £1,800, give or take a few pence. Are there accessories, Tony, that go with it? Yes, you can get the SP38 as you've got with the 7300. And again, the microphones SM30, SM50 fit in perfectly well. Is it a good choice? Does it have that display out, Tony? Well, it can be done. Again, you can do the PTRX board, the PTRX 9700, and get that display out when running it with an SDR. So you've got that option. It's not a very simple option, again, as it is with the 7300. So bear that in mind. However, again, the beauty of it not having that is you can take it out and about portable, which is perfect, again, if you're operating 23 sems. So 9700, definitely one to look out for. It's either that or you go back to the 80s, early 90s and choose one of the VHF, UHF base stations from there. And, you know, let's be honest, who doesn't like something new? Okay, moving across, we're going to go straight to Icom's latest edition, the IC-905, which, much like the 9700 where it matches the 7300, the 905, as you can probably tell, kind of fits in with Icom's 705. Now, the beauty of the 905 is it takes it that little bit further for you when it comes to operating VHF, UHF, etc. So it will give you VHF, UHF and super high frequencies as well. So if you want to operate 10 gigahertz, for example, that is possible. And there's the additional CX10G unit here, which will enable you to do that. Now, they've been very, very clever with the 905. And, you know, it's one of those bands where it's been very, very specialist in the past and there's been a lot of homebrew, which, you know, can get quite expensive. So Icom have kind of taken the best of everything, popped it into the 905 box, and because it's very high frequency and what have we all learnt, especially if you're a newcomer to the hobby, is that you really want as little amount of coax as possible when it comes to feed line, etc., to get your signal out there on the higher bands. So basically, this is your control unit. It powers up, and then your actual TX part, or your RF part, I should say, of modules are actually based up by the antenna. So it's very, very clever design when it comes to the 905. Now, as I said, very, very specialist. If you want to know more about this product, we're just giving you a brief overview today, but do give the guys a call in the sales team, and we can relay some of that information to you. And obviously keep checking the website, hamradio.co.uk. Now, that's your transceivers covered. Shortwave listeners, people are still catering for you, and it's Icom that are doing that, and they're doing it with the ICR 8600. And yes, I know it's not a transceiver, it's only a receiver. However, what's not to love about the 8600? Coverage is DC up to 3 gigs plus, and it is multi-mode, multi-band, covers everything, and will actually decode D-Star for you as well if need be. So if you've got a local D-Star repeater and you wanted to have a little listen, it's not a problem. When it comes to shortwave, obviously you can change your tuning steps with the touchscreen display very easily, and direct frequency input, as you can see here. So the 8600, around about £2,500 as it stands, but technology-wise, it's a huge step on from your original Icom receivers, which you may have had something like, you know, an ICR-70 or an 8500, for example. Connectivity, again, very easy to do. You can buy software for programming very easily. You can run remote software with the 8600 as well, and it's definitely one to consider. Okay, so that's a brief overview of the current Icom range, and hopefully that will help you choose which Icom radio is perfect for you. Now, if you're still a little bit confused or there's more information that you need, don't forget to call the team here at Martin Lynch & Sons. just give the sales guys a call. We can run through it with you. It's not a problem. Now, before I go, I did mention that you could win an Icom cap, and the question is going to be, well, there is no question. Basically, all I want to know is, which was your favourite Icom radio, whether it be from the current range or from the past? So just comment down below, and one of you will be in with a chance to win that lovely Icom cap which I showed you earlier in the show. And if you want to find out a little bit more about Martin Lynch & Sons, we are currently running a little WhatsApp channel. So you can subscribe via the QR code which will be shown very shortly, or via the link below. Just a little something we're going to be testing. Let's see if it works, and let's keep connected. See you soon.